Ain't nobody stopping my shine. They try to break me, try to take me out, but I got Jesus on my side. Hurt so bad I thought I would die, but ain't no power stronger than the one that came and laid down his life. And I got mountains to climb, but the enemy can't stop me, cause there's a calling on my life. So when I'm crying, don't last too long, cause he gon' step in and make it alright. Won't he do it? He said he would. Fight your battles for you, they gon' wonder how you sleep at night. Won't he do it? Yes he will. Anybody tell you something different, you know that's a lie. You gon' look back and be so amazed how it turned out, it's only his grace. Won't he do it? He said he would. So I trust him at all times. I'm about to lose it again. I'm about to let him know where I'm from. Don't take me there again. I just call on Jesus, my friend. Get me back in line one more time, cause he's always listening. Ain't nobody perfect, everybody's hurting. Need your whisper, Lord, save me from my weaknesses, cause you're always on time. Come and get your breakthrough, cause I'm gon' get mine. Won't he do it? He said he would. Fight your battles for you, they gon' wonder how you sleep at night. Won't he do it? Yes he will. Anybody tell you something different, you know that's a lie. You gon' look back and be so amazed how it turned out, it's only his grace. Won't he do it? He said he would. So I trust him at all times. You see what the enemy planned for my downfall turned out to be the greatest victory of my life. Cause when it comes at you fast and hard, there's only one that could come and make it right. So ain't no need for stressing and crying, cause he gon' show up just like he did the last time. And the last time, and the last time, I know. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Yeah. Said he would. Fight your battles for you, they gon' wonder how you sleep at night. Won't he do it? Yes he will. Yes he will. Anybody tell you something different, you know that's a lie. You gon' look back and be so amazed how it turned out, it's only his grace. Won't he do it? He said he would. So I trust him at all times. Won't he do it? He said he would. So I trust him at all times. Won't he do it? Yes he will. So I trust him at all times. Won't he do it? I know he will. So I trust him at all times. All times. So I trust him at all times.
You are tuned in to that praisey station, Praise.fm, where we get our praise on. 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Hello, everybody. It's that weekly encounter that we have on Tuesday nights here on Girl Shine Projects. Keep it real with Pastor Dre. I'm so excited to be here. I know I'm grateful for all the ladies and men who join us every Tuesday night. I'm excited to have my girlfriend on tonight. Kim has the night off. I don't know why Kim thought she could be off the day after Labor Day, and it's not like she actually works here, but you wouldn't know it. I like having her on here every week. She keeps it real with me. I'm gonna give her a shout out because she said she'd be listening because she's in her car tonight. So hello, Kim. I got Jeanette on here. I just want to give a couple preliminary shout outs. Got Willie and Ursula on, Tat Dixon, Choice. I can't see who else. I know Carmen because Kim is the one who usually let me know who's on every week. For some reason, I'm having a hard time seeing everybody. So if I don't give you a shout out, charge it to my computer and not to me. But I know Carmen's on. I know Jeanette is on. Ursula's on. Choice is on. There's probably some other people that's coming on. I know my mom is probably watching. Got Aunt Sonia Burke on. She's my special guest this week. Before we get started with the nitty gritty, I have to give a shout out to my producer. She hates this every week. She hates it, but I do it every week because without her, there is no us. Dr. Lady Rain is making it happen on the other side of the cameras. Like I say, every week, one of these weeks, I'm going to get her on here on this side of the camera. I know she says, well, if she's on this side of the camera, who's going to be doing that side of the camera? Well, God is going to bring somebody into the fold who can do that while we do this. And I'm going to learn how to do that. So I don't know how I'm going to do that and this, but you know, when you're a powerful, iconic type of woman, you can do this, that, and the other. We learn how to do it all. And so I got my girl all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. For those of you all who used to attend our church I'm going to get this right. For those who used to attend our church and for those who are currently attending our church, I got Georgia Benson on here. Oh, Pastor Charity's on here from last week, and Easter's on. I know that Aunt Sonia's got some people on. I can't see who they are. I don't know. Can you see them, Aunt Sonia?
I see one so far, and that's Iris Rose. Hey, girl, thanks for being here.
Yes. And for whoever else can be on tonight, start a watch party. We want to get it out because the topic tonight is going to be fire. Every week, you know, we've been talking about different things. Last week, we talked about being resilient. Charity broke it down. She talked, and I'm just going to give you a little, if you didn't get a chance to watch last week, she was talking about how she was a pastor's wife. She also had her own ministry. She was traveling, went through a divorce, all kinds of stuff happened. So she talked about the importance of being resilient. I'm so excited to have her on tonight. I want to say hi to your girlfriend, Iris. Thank you for watching tonight and joining us. Pastor T is on. Hi, Janine. She's on tonight. We've got all kinds of people popping on.
My girlfriend Nick just joined.
Oh, Corey's mom, Georgia Benson, is on. Hey, hi, Corey's mom. She's out in Memphis as well. In a couple weeks, I've got her daughter-in-law going to be on. She's actually an African-American court reporter. And It's going to be so exciting because we don't get to see those very often. And she's going to be sharing about really what the life of a court reporter is like. I know some people may be like, okay, sitting in a courtroom is boring. Well, it might be, but not for her because she does quite a bit. We're just so excited about everything God is doing here at Girl Shine. So like I said, I'm going to get the preliminaries out of the way. If you want to do your own show, I say this every week, this is not just for me or for the next person or someone down the street. You too can have your own show. If you want to sponsor a show, get with me, send a message to the radio station, reach out to Dr. Rain. She will get you set up on what's required for you to do your own show or to sponsor another show. I'm so excited about every project. We've got some interesting things coming up at the beginning of the new year, so just keep watching. All kinds of things. Invite your friends to be a part of what God's doing. This is not just, even though it says Girl Shine, I do have men on the show because sometimes we have to shine so we can help the men in our lives shine. Sometimes they need to shine to help the women shine. So we do this together. You know, for those of you all who are still married, those of you who have been married, or you've got sons, you've got daughters, whoever, you know, nephews, uncles, whoever it may be, when they see the light coming through us, that's always an open door to be able to tell someone how to get past their own difficulties, challenges, or what may have you. So this is not just a woman's show, even though we say Girl Shine, but we want to be able to help anyone around us to shine. So now that we've kind of gotten that out of the way, Aunt Sonia has written a couple books. I'm going to let her tell you all about her. But I met her. I just want to kind of share how I got to know her, because you guys probably like, how does she know all these people? And no, I'm not famous. One day I will be, though.
Yes, you will.
I'm speaking that into existence, because I want to be a person who's not just known for me, but I want to be known for bringing other people up. And so if I'm famous, then the people that I bring on my show will make them famous. So it's not about me, but if I'm everywhere and I'm bringing my friends with me, then that means my friends are going to be everywhere. So I've said this from day one, that this isn't just about me. It's really about, I like to bring people on the show for them to share what God is doing in their lives. And this isn't a preachy show. So yeah, we keep Jesus as the center of it all, of course. But we talk about all kinds of stuff, because how many of you know that Jesus and a therapist is exciting? It's good to have both. And I'm a little biased now because I am a therapist also. But it's also good to have mentors. It's good to have people who are coaching, whatever you choose to call that person in your life, who helps push you when you need to be pushed, who pulls you when you need to be pulled. And those people who will just knock you on your butt when you need that too. All those things work, because sometimes, because Dr. Lady Rain right now, man, she's pulling and pushing and kicking. She's doing all kinds of stuff. And I'm excited to have people in my life that do that. So, having said that, oh yeah, April, she said she's excited. Oh, Richie is on. Richland's my assistant. It's just so nice to have her on here on Tuesday nights with me. You guys just don't know what she does to keep me in order. I'm getting it from all different directions. But Aunt Sonia, I met her because Bishop Jester, who my audience knows who she is. I'm surprised I'm not getting emails and text messages about when she's going to be on the show again. I'm making that happen. So, you guys be patient. There's some other people that are connected to her that God wants to use. And I'm going down the list, because she surrounded herself with some powerful women of God. I was scheduling her for Bishop Robinson, the late Bishop Robinson. I was scheduling Bishop Jester to come to our church to do the emergency preparedness training. And she was going to preach the next day. And I reached out to her with the information that I had. And through that experience, I met Aunt Sonia, because Aunt Sonia actually was the person that I had to contact to make those arrangements. Now, she does not live in Arizona anymore. And you haven't lived in Arizona in a long while. She's from Tucson. She and Bishop Jester, I think, went to high school together, if I remember correctly. Or you guys were in the same neighborhood. You guys have known each other for a very long time. Same church. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so that's how we made the connection. And it was really like an instant connection. And we have developed our own relationship. So, having said that, I'm going to let her talk about her professional life, her ministry life, and she will take it further and kind of lead this discussion. And Sonia, welcome to Girl Shine Project, our weekly show of keeping it real with Pastor Dre.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm just truly excited and honored to be able to be here with you. I'm excited about just our relationship that God has really continued to develop and keep us in connection. And of course, my name is Aunt Sonia Burke. I am an evangelist. I don't use that title unless I have to. I am originally from Tucson, Arizona. I now live in Austin, Texas, where I have been for probably 6.5 years. I am by a healthcare administrator during the day, and then I actually do life and leadership coaching in the afternoon, mentorship type things. I go to Faith Culture, where my pastor and my prophetess that are over me, Johnson, that I lead, and I do lead there too as well. I actually work for my pastor's radio show that he does, and so I am a partnership in that as well. So just do lots of ministry things. I have written a book, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, on iconic leadership. I have a devotional out there as well. And so just excited. My passion is influence people and leaders, and really identifying their skill sets and where they will work best, either in the marketplace or the ministry. So I just love people and love helping them to get to their next destination.
Yes, and Sonia is a pusher. She gave you the nice version of all the things that she does, and I see people have, oh yeah, Choices from your home. You're living in Choice's hometown, and Kim, who usually co-hosts, my guest co-host, that's usually on every Tuesday, she's actually from Austin as well. So we've got a couple people in our church who are from the Texas. Well, my husband is, he's a Longhorn Dallas Cowboy fan. My husband's from Texas, but he's not from the part of Texas that they are. But this young lady, and I'm gonna call her a young lady because she's young, not young in the things of God, but she's young. This woman of God is a natural pusher. She's one of these people that you don't ever want to tell her anything that you plan on doing. You don't even want to think about it when you're in her presence, because if you think about it, somehow she hears it and it comes out of her mouth, and then she will hold you to it. She puts the fire up under you, and I don't even know how to describe her tenacity. She does not let up. She doesn't forget anything you tell her. And it could be I may not talk to her for a whole 6 months. We may communicate by text or, just passing on Facebook, but she does not forget anything. And somehow I've gotten wrapped up into something else that she's got going on. And I'm like, why? When I saw this thing, I thought, what have I done? When I saw that she was a part of it, I'm like, I'm in trouble now. So I'm getting from all directions right now. So I looked over, having said that, I looked over the title of what we were going to talk about tonight. And when I saw church, can you handle me? I thought, okay, this is going to be one of those evenings that is going to bring the fire. People will not be able to sleep after listening to what she has to share tonight. And I had asked her for to give me a couple ideas of what direction we might go into. Her book, Iconic. How do I put this? It's one of those kind of reads that from the gate, you start looking at all the things you hadn't done that you were supposed. At least that's what I did. As I perused a little bit over it, I thought, do I really want to still have her on the show tonight? And I'm hoping that she doesn't call me out. So I'm going to call myself out. I'm going to go ahead and tell on myself. I hadn't done any of the stuff that I was supposed to do since I've known Ansonia. But because of the things that Dr. Rain has me doing, well, I did step out. I did start this show. So yes, I have done a few things. And I'm going to finish up some other things. I've got some really good things going on. You're going to be so proud to hear about them. But that's for a whole nother conversation. I'm not going to have that on air tonight. But just know you're going to be very proud of me when I tell you all the things I am doing. You see that mother look she just gave me? You all just saw it. You saw it. Yes. And my daughter's on here. Charisma's on tonight. She's in from Houston. So yeah, I got lots of stuff going on. And yeah, I'm actually doing something. 2020 has been the year of doing for me.
Nice.
Yeah, many people have said it's been vision, is and all kinds of stuff we've gotten out of it. Our pastor, Pat and Sharonda, he had said that this year would be the year of progression. And in my life, that's exactly what it's been. I have been progressing. So I have been doing that. So I'm proud of myself. And Bishop Jester told us at our last women's conference, you know, sometimes you have to pat your own self on your back. So for those of you all who have not pat yourself on the back, let's do that right now. Pat yourself on the back. So having said that, what is it about the iconic leader that causes it to be so difficult for us to get rooted and grounded on the inside of us, and Sonia?
Well, I think first of all, we have to recognize that we are an iconic leader, and an iconic leader is definitely a person that is definitely outside the box, not a normal type leader within. Iconic people are leaders or natural progression of leaders, and they are usually just outside the box. They don't do things that are normal. And so people have a hard time connecting with them sometimes. The iconic leader deals with a lot of warfare within their lives. A lot of them are prophetic, multitaskers, just high energy. And they're just not easy to connect with if you don't know how to deal with them. And so I think because most people don't know how to connect or deal or understand them, it's difficult for them to be rooted.
Yeah, so when you're talking about rooted, are you talking about rooted in the church, rooted in their homes, rooted on their jobs, any particular place, or are you just talking about in general?
In general, they are just high-strung sometimes. A lot of them are type A personalities, very direct. They just say it, like it is. They don't mean any harm, but people don't know how to deal with that. And so, there's just people just have to really get to know an iconic leader, what they really stand for. They do many things, as you do and I do. We're multitaskers, so we're here, there, and everywhere. Our main goal is really to help the people. We support our leaders, and I just think it's just anywhere you are. I'll be able to talk a little bit about myself later. Even in the corporate place, I have a difficult time sometimes. People really understanding who I am and what I stand for, and once they get to know me, they realize the way they were thinking was totally not how I am. So,
yeah, based on what you're saying, it sounded like myself. I'll be the first. Type A personality people, generally people like that, you either love or hate. And it takes some getting to know the person to find the middle ground. Usually we're judged on our exterior instead of the interior. And it's a challenge for people who are not willing to take the time to build relationship. And the relationship building is that process, because you have to deal with the highs and lows of that. And it's a struggle on both ends. And that's that piece that people have a hard time, or it can sometimes be a challenge to understand the highs and the lows. I remember when I first became a part of sorority world, especially the year after I pledged, when people wanted to be a part of the sorority, I always hear this thing, well, you're nothing like I thought you were. And I would always ask, well, what did you think? And they always say, oh, well, you're so much nicer than I thought. Well, what was it about me that made you think that I wasn't? You didn't even know me. I'm not, It's 5 minutes already. Okay. Well, that's the challenging part because as the type A person or that person who constantly gets told the same thing over and over again, it makes it challenging to want to even engage someone else because of the fear of being taken the wrong way. And unfortunately, that seems to be something that goes along with that type of personality. Did you have something you wanted to say in regards
Yeah, I was
to
going to
that?
say you're so right on, and I think it you know I hear that all the time. You know, you're nothing like what I thought, and that gets frustrating because us as we're people too, and we don't
Mhm.
see everything that they see. We just see our natural selves, and a lot of our content leaders really are relational. Once you really get to know them, they're covenant. I'm a covenant person. I love long-term relationships. I love getting to know people and understanding them. Once we get past, I do have a barrier, just because of all the things that I've dealt with and the warfare that I have challenged. But if you take the
Yeah.
time to get to know me and get past that, we're something to reckon with. And I mean, me and you're an example. I mean, we're very tight. We can talk about anything. But I think iconic leaders understand each other better than the other people that actually come into their circle. So it makes it a
Yeah,
little easier.
it can. And realizing that, teamwork really does make, I know it sounds like one of those things we say all the time, but iron does sharpen iron. And generally, and I realize that everybody can't be the in your face type of person. But for those of us who are, I got 3 minutes, for those of us who are those type of people, um, it can be hurtful when people don't give you a chance. Um, and it's often people who want you to give them a chance.
Yes.
And because on both sides of the aisle, you have the person that the type A person is the let's get it done, let's do this, whatever. And then you have that other person who is more of the lackadaisical type who doesn't want, don't see the need for change. And that doesn't mean that we have it all together because just like I just said, this, and I know people on here who, hi Kim, Kim is on, that she made it. For people who are on here that know me, are probably saying stuff like, "Oh, so you get in my butt about stuff, but I didn't know people were getting in your butt about stuff." Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And I'm the type of person that I'm not gonna ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do. If I'm gonna hold you accountable, I have someone holding me accountable. You may not get to see who that is, but it's always good to have people in your life who are willing to tell you the truth. Because, the word talks about truth and truth bringing freedom. We may not always appreciate what truth feels like, but if you're not willing to deal with it, then you're going to keep cycling through the same stuff.
That's right.
So, before I go any further into that, we're going to go ahead and break for commercial break, I guess you want to call it, and our praise break. And they know me every week. They already know what the song is going to be because I haven't been led to change it. My producer is cracking up. I wish you guys could see this big, beautiful smile that she has. And I have to give her a high five because she's up at the crack of dawn with prayer every morning at 6 a.m. because I'm not up that early, but at 6 a.m. They are. I'm gonna get there though. I'm working my way to that. And what you guys are gonna be joking because at one time, you see, there's gonna come a time where I'm gonna talk about I'm up at 6 a.m. on your show, and I'm gonna motivate some people to join me because they're gonna be like, if Drea's up at that time, I know I can get up. See, so this is the year of progression, and I am making it a plan. Before the end of the year, I will be up like clockwork, and it won't be a problem for me to be up to be on your show. See, she's sleepy this time of night while I'm awake because she's, this the end of her day, and my day getting good right about now. So, Anthony Brown and Group Therapy will be singing testimony because I have a testimony and Sonia has a testimony, and everybody who's on here watching while Kim is driving, listening, and sharing while she's driving, she has a testimony also of everything that God is doing here on Girl Shine. For those of you who keep it real every week, listen. Stay tuned. Don't sign off. Testimony.
Fighting in the boardroom, trying to feed your family, kicked out underneath you.
God's able.
God is more than able. He can turn the table.
So turn and tell.
Turn and tell your neighbor now it's time for you.
Yes. Can I get a witness?
Can I get a witness?
Just need one more.
Just need one more witness.
That God still opening doors.
Doors that work.
He's still making ways where others say that there ain't no way.
Ain't no way.
And if you know this is true,
What I need you to
get
do.
up, get up and say.
Ain't nobody tell it like me.
Can't nobody
Ain't nobody say it like me.
you don't ever.
You don't know the story like me.
Ooh,
Testimony.
say,
Ain't nobody praise him like me.
say.
Nobody praise him for
He
me.
gave me the victory. Oh yeah. Here we go. Verse 2.
Anybody ever had a sickness?
Getting bound,
Bound by any illness?
laid up.
Laid up in the sick room.
The doctor said,
Doctor said there's nothing he can
"Are they called your family?"
They called your family.
You cried out,
Cried out, Lord, please help me.
'cause you knew.
You deep down inside that he can heal you.
Now let's fast forward. Hey,
Doctors can't explain it.
some way, somehow.
Somehow you made it.
Never stop.
Never stop believing.
Now you're walking.
Walking in your healing.
Everything ain't perfect.
Things not perfect, but you don't look like what you've been through.
Now you can tell somebody.
Now you can tell somebody if you didn't
Yeah, yeah.
believe you. Can I get a witness?
Oh, just one more.
Need one more witness.
The God's still working. Open the door. He's still making ways.
Still making ways.
Yeah.
Others said that there ain't no way.
If you know this is true, I get up and say, "Ain't nobody,
Ain't nobody tell it like me.
can't nobody,
Ain't nobody say it like me.
you don't know the,
You don't know the story like me.
yeah,
It's my testimony. Ain't nobody praise it like me. Nobody praise it for
He
me.
gave me the victory.
Give me the victory.
Oh,
Testimony.
say it's mine,
It's mine. Hey,
it's mine.
it's my testimony.
I got
I got a testimony.
say it's mine. Oh, it's mine.
My testimony.
I got a
I got a testimony.
Can I get a witness?
Can I get a
Just
witness?
need one more.
One more
Just
witness.
need one more. Opening doors.
Doors that
Come on. He's still making ways when others say that there ain't no
ain't no way.
way. And if you know this is true,
It's what I need
I
you to
get
do.
up and say,
Nobody tell it like me. Ain't nobody say it like me. You don't know the story like me. It's my testimony. Ain't nobody praise him like me. Ain't nobody praise him for me. He gave me the victory. I got a testimony.
Have you ever wanted to host your own inspirational radio show? Have you been called to inspire and spread God's word? Please contact Alicia Rain for more info.
Unprecedented times calls for unprecedented measures. Be the best in these virtual times.
Get a college accredited certification as a digital media technician.
Where you can learn technical podcast, radio board op,
Live stream remote, video editing.
Or record your next hit song.
taught
At the Academy of
Uni ETV and Radio.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are having a discussion tonight about being an iconic leader. And the catchphrase for me for this that really stood out is she had on there, "Church, can you handle me?" You know, that's what church, business, girls group, whatever capacity you're in, can you handle an iconic leader? She talked about a little bit before the break what being an iconic leader is about. We talked about how the challenges of being rooted when you're an iconic leader. And I'm going to ask you, this is Ansonia Burke, for those of you all who may not have had an opportunity to meet her before the break and you're just joining us. Let me see if anyone... Oh, Miss Cookie is on. I want to give a shout out to Miss Cookie. That's all I can see that's new. Kim got it going on. Kim, the only one I know, can co-host from her car. Kim she is doing the absolute most right now. I see people. Yes, I'm fanning because I am having a hot flash right now. Lord help me. Yes, that goes along with being an iconic leader. Only an iconic leader can have a hot flash and admit it on camera. Yes, I am. My son Taji is on tonight. He and my daughter in Houston. Thank you for supporting Taji. Ansonia, can you share a little bit about why iconic leaders leave? Whether that's churches, they leave places, a business, clubs, wherever, whatever, you may want to share about that. And then I'll give a couple other points and you can just kind of flow with that. What type of leader does an iconic leader need? How important is mentorship in the life of an iconic leader? And getting the iconic leader reconnected to the church as their support and mission headquarters, or wherever that connection needs to be. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. I think, first of all, I think we just have to remember that there are many iconic leaders that are sitting in your churches, they're sitting in your corporate arenas, and they're frustrated because they're not allowed or even identified as having the gifts that can be utilized within your prospective places. As I shared before, the iconic leader is a multitasker. They can do many things, and it's really hard to identify what they are truly gifted in because they're gifted in so many things. Mm-hmm. And so I think because they're sitting in these places and they're not being utilized, and the word says that their gifts will make room for them. So they're not going to be ones to run up and say, I can do this, I can do that. They're really just going to sit out there, demonstrate who they are, what they can do, and wait for the leadership to be able to identify. Now, there are some things where, if they're called to do such things, that they'll actually do those. But, I want to share this before I get into why they leave. And it was kind of Bishop Jester. Last week we were on a call and we were talking about the iconic leader. And she said to me, and I'm being really transparent here, she said, when you walk in a room, you have a presence without saying a word. And it can be intimidating to some people, which I already knew. But what she said that really struck a chord with me, because many times when I do go, and I'm just going to use ministries because that's where I'm at a lot, I don't get utilized in the capacities that I am, because she said, I pastors or spiritual leaders don't believe that I need to be pastored because of the presence that I bring. And it's more of, I'm not needing a pastor, but I'm going to them as a partnership. And I really sat and thought about that thing. And it has really resonated with me, because I could see that I'm polished. I know that. And I'm polished where people may think that I don't need someone to lean on, and I don't have hurts. But I think we have to realize that there are many of us out there that it's not an intentional wall that we place. It's not an intentional, I have it all together just to kind of hide. That's really not what we're doing. That's our makeup. And it had become such a hidden thing for us. I don't even realize that I'm doing it. It's, I know that people that are in my immediate circle, they know immediately when I'm not having a good day, or they know if they see me off the radar, they know that there's something going on. But I really thought when Bishop said that to me, I was like, wow. It really resonated with me, because I think I have to really be careful of my presentation sometimes, because I do need, but I'm not one to be like, I need you. But I don't want people to think that it's always that I don't need to be ministered to, because I do, that I don't have faults, because I do. But it was I just wanted to share that with you, because I thought it was very prevalent for us as iconic leaders, that we present so polished sometimes that people don't think that we need anything. So I thought that was good.
And I think that that's such a valuable insight that you shared, because it's easy for people to make assumptions, because just because a person's not crying does not mean that they're not sad or experience sadness. And I can remember, even giving you a phone call, because here's the thing. I just actually met Ann Sonia face to face. We saw each other face to face, about 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Was it 2 years ago? Yeah.
2 or 3. Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 years ago. But I've known her for about 6 or 7 years. We met over the phone. And ironically enough, early in our relationship, God used me to say a few things to her, not having a clue who I was talking to about any of that. And it takes an element of boldness to be able to share some things with someone that you either don't know. I mean, I knew enough about her to know that she was not the kind of person that you can just come at with anything. Now, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying that, and this is, I want this to be a word of encouragement, because God uses whoever he wants to use to do whatever he needs done in the moment. And that's where you have to become confident in the things of God. Now, 10 years ago, there's no way I would have ever done that. But I've learned over a period of time to be obedient and say what thus saith the Lord, because at the end of the day, I want to be able to rest. I don't want that on me. I had to grow to that though. But it took another iconic leader to push me enough. Bishop pushed me enough to the point where I became confident to be able to give a word from the Lord. And it's a reciprocal thing. If the Lord gives her something to give to me, she's able to do that as well. But I just want to encourage, because what you said tonight, I think it dropped like a bomb for me, because so many times people who appear strong don't get what they need because people make assumptions. And I think that that leads to part of why you were saying earlier, we were talking about earlier about the difficulty in being rooted, and also why it's so easy for people, iconic leaders, to feel like they don't belong somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you were saying earlier, I said all that to lead into why iconic leaders leave. And it's because they just don't fit in. They cannot find their niche in the particular area that they are, whether it's in corporate arena, whether it's in the churches. They just can't find their place. They don't fit in any group. They're not groupies. They don't like to be in a whole bunch of, like, they don't mind being in crowds, but they don't like to be in, I don't necessarily say cliques, because not all churches have cliques, but for a lack of a better word, cliques. And they fly solo. And so a lot of times they have a very high expectation of ministry. They like systems. They like organization. They don't like a lot of chaos. And so many of those iconic leaders that are sitting out there and are not being utilized to help in those ministries or within the corporate arena, they either get bored or they just don't feel like they're going to fit into that particular culture. And so they struggle to find their place in traditional settings. Of course, that also leads to their disconnection because, people don't know how to connect with them. People don't know how to take them. They don't speak to them because they don't know, they think they're mean, or they think that they're, they have that face. And a lot of iconic leaders are very, they're prophetic in nature, and so they don't talk a lot. They have, their faces show a lot of things because they're deep thinkers. And so you find that they get disconnected because there's nobody really, there's not a source for them to be able to have an outlet to. Again, they lack support. Again, because the leaders think that they don't deal with anything. And so they end up, they end up being solo, so they don't feel like they belong there either. And then they usually, you'll definitely identify with this, they usually have ministry to the, within themselves. And, I've been all over the world with my ex-spouse, traveling in the military, and I have dealt a lot because my ministry is not always inside the four walls. And so I have so many things that I do outside. As you already know, I have a women's ministry. I do women's conferences. I do women's workshops. I have a background in counseling as well. So I'm always mentoring or coaching or doing something of that nature to help people find their purpose in life. And I'm usually the go-to person. So believe it or not, many people pull on me, but there's no outlet for me. Of course, I built that, but I'm talking about those iconic leaders that haven't realized that they're iconic. And because so many people pull on you, it's important that you have people in your space that you can go to when you need something. And so I think when you get, people are intimidated by your ministries that you have, and even some think you're trying to take their church, or you're trying to grow your own church. Trust me, I do not want to be a pastor. I like serving in the capacity that I serve. I love being available to people that have a very strong discernment, and so it's very easy for me to identify people that are, loners, or they're out there and they really have something going on and they need ministry. And so that is really the way I enjoy what I do and why I do it. And so it's hard sometimes that that the leaders don't really understand us or even try to. And I think if I had any advice for ministers in the gospel, pastors or anything, is that just because someone doesn't run up to you, or someone that doesn't want to be in your face all the time and they're sitting in the background, that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have your back. Iconic leaders are very loyal. They want to be
to a fault. almost to a
Yes,
fault.
yes, ma'am, to
Yes,
a fault. And
to
I
a
can
fault.
tell you, I am that person. I'm very loyal to a fault. And I've stayed in places where I knew it was time for me to go long ago because as I told you before, I'm very covenant related. And so I've had to learn, when God says move, you need to move regardless of the relationship. He'll take care of that. And so I just think people not really understanding. Now, the iconic leader, what kind of leader does the iconic leader need? They need an apostolic leader. They need a leader that can understand all of their giftings. They need an apostolic leader that is not intimidated by their giftings and the things that they know how to do. And I think a lot of churches and corporate arenas, when you have someone and I'll just use me, of my magnitude, because I definitely love systems. I'm very organized. I love excellence. I like things that we do for anybody, the Lord, but definitely I like things to be, you guys know I love details. I think it's so important. I pay attention to details, and I just think it's so important that we have people that can help guide us, that are not intimidated by us, that allow us to. Iconic leaders have lots of questions. We're not one of those people that just because you say go, we're going to go. We have questions, and don't feel intimidated because there's questions that we have. That's part of where the iconic leader gets labeled as disobedient, doesn't want to follow leadership, and that is so far from the truth. We just, we're in a meeting, and most people, you tell them what to do, and they just go. But most of the time, I want to know, can you explain why we're doing it? Is there, a specific reason we're going to do it this way? Or if I can see that this is going to run us into something, well, let's try it. Is there an option that we could try it this way instead? Because I can see X, Y, and Z. And so I think it's so important that the leaders realize that we just don't think like you think all the time. We have different ways of thinking. We're very analytical. We just see things, processes and procedures so differently, and we have questions, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to do it.
And that's true. And I found that it gets me in trouble. It's always gotten me in trouble. I grew up in the era of do it because I said so era, because that was the way it was. That's the way our parenting, our parents and our grandparents parented. You did it because I said so. Well, I was always the one. I mean, literally, I've gotten slapped in my mouth before by my grandma because I asked why.
Me too.
And why is really not a disrespectful term. Although growing up in the South, I don't know how it was in Tucson, but I know growing up in Louisiana, you didn't ask why. It was because I said so. And that wasn't a viable answer. And my mom lives in our home, and as an adult, she and I have had this conversation about knowing why. When a child knows why, or whoever is under our tutelage know why. There are no stupid questions.
Right.
And just because a person is asking why does not mean that they are being disrespectful or whatever term you want to use for it. When a person understands the why behind the what, then they don't ask as many how questions. Because they figure out how to maneuver the what because they understand the why.
Yes.
And we spend a lot of time doing tug of war with people because we don't want to take the time to teach the why part. And we want buy-in from people, but we want them to just take our word for it. And we don't want to spend that time giving explanation. And explanation is, it's worth it. Because once they have an understanding about why we're doing things the way we're doing it, then it's a whole lot easier for them to see their where in it.
Yes.
And you keep good people. And that's why the word even talks about safety in the multitude of counsel.
Yes.
There are no lone rangers in this thing. There's not on work. Just because you're in management does not mean that you don't need your team. Because it's true. There is no I in team. All
That's right.
management is responsibility. That means that I'm the one held accountable for everything that takes place. But this is the why is the part of the training piece. It's a part of the mentoring part.
Yes.
The why, you know, if you don't, you can't coach someone if you don't want to have the discussion about the whys. And we want people to esteem us here, but we're not willing to meet them where they are on the spectrum.
Right.
And things happen. You said earlier, we're relational people. The why is part of the relationship building on both sides.
Yes.
It's an exchange of communication. And so what you're sharing, and people are just, oh, wow. I mean, they are loving this discussion. I'm looking down and I'm seeing all of this. My bestie said, the Bible said we're supposed to get an understanding. Well, how can we get an understanding if we can't ask why? I know I grew up in an era where we were told not to ask God why. Well, how else are you going to know if you don't ask him questions?
Right.
Ask, seek, knock. That's all part of the why.
Yes.
I want to know, God, why did you tell him this? Because if I don't ask him why, then I won't know. Because
That's right.
everything isn't just right there. Pastor Lisa said you can't manage without a team. Nick Thompson Woodson said, she said she held accountable. She did it, thumbs up. Carmen said the why turns out to be a teachable moment. I know other people said stuff, but I can't see your comments. So please don't get upset with me because I can't see what you're saying. But this is so powerful, and I know I'm going to have you come back on the show because this woman has written a book. Please buy her book because the next time you're on, we're going to talk about some specifics from this book. Oh, your friend Nick says the Bible says we're all part of one body.
Yes.
Oh my, this is just killing me right about now. I'm like, it just gets good right at 8:30.
Of course.
Not that it hadn't been good all along, but right at 8:30, it's just like where the revelation starts coming out. I've got to get you scheduled for October. You tell me which Tuesday you're available and we'll do a part 2.
Okay.
And I'll make sure that all my friends order your book.
Okay.
So that we can talk about this book on the next go, because
that'd be nice.
There's so many good nuggets in it. Being an iconic leader, people, and I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna go. We have to get beyond ourselves. And that's I believe everyone has leadership capability.
Yes.
Whether you're leading in your home, you're leading with your children, you're leading with your cousins, nieces, nephews, if you don't have children, those people that are in your sphere of influence, we all have one, whether it's one person, 5 people, 20 people, whatever it may be, or 100, 200, 500 for those that pastor. And it's funny you said that because I just told my bestie Tammy last night that they could all have this pastor and stuff because I'm over it. I won't have nothing to do with it. For those who want to be senior pastors, God bless you. That's not my sphere of income. Or income either. It ain't my sphere of influence or income. For those who want to do what they do. But what I'm saying is we have to realize that no matter where we are on the sphere, we're all leading somebody. whether directly or indirectly. Somebody is watching our lives. So it's so important that we become confident in who we are, so that those that are coming alongside us or behind us or even in front of us, because sometimes people in front of us do look back. They need to see someone who is so confident in who they are and the things of God that it either catapults the person in front of us to their next, or we are able to pull the person behind us to their next, where we're constantly moving and we don't get stuck with whatever idiosyncrasies we might have. Because being an iconic leader means that you have to be a step above yourself. That's from what I read and I got out of everything that you've shared tonight, is we have to learn how to be a step above of self, because self will cause us to think lower of ourselves than we ought to. So tonight, if you have been listening to this broadcast tonight and you haven't accepted Jesus as your Lord and personal Savior, because if you don't know him, you can't be an iconic leader. If you have not been seeing all that God wants you to be, and this has helped you tonight, put something in the comments to let Ansonia know that you were touched by what God is doing in her and through her. Tell her thank you. Let her know you appreciate her. Let's buy her book tonight, because we want to be able to talk about it on the next show. So if you see yourself as an iconic leader and you want to be able to share some insight with the audience here at Praise.fm radio, and you know that you are that person, reach out to Dr. Lady Rain. Let her know that you want to be a part of this. Also, if you want to sponsor what God is doing on this platform, reach out to her for that as well, because there is room on this station for you. So I want to encourage everyone to be iconic in everything that you're doing. Be transactional with God, because God is a God of covenant, and covenant is about transactions.
Yes.
So I will let you all know when Ansonia is available. Next week, we've got Pastor Lisa Anderson. She does a show on Thursday nights. Get Up, Girl Up on Thursday nights, 6:30 Arizona time. I think I got that right, because she changed the time on me. 6:30 Arizona time. Support her shows. Support all the shows that are, especially the primetime shows. Support those shows. Next Tuesday, she's going to be sharing some powerful insights, so you don't want to miss her. For those of you all who don't know her, get to know her. She's a powerful, wonderful woman of God. She is the reason why I'm on this platform right now. So thank you so much, Ansonia. Oh my goodness.
Pleasure.
This has been so wonderful, and I will have your book read by the time you come back on. I'm going to be done with your book.
Awesome.
That's a promise. And so
Okay.
many people are here are wanting to order your book. If you can go in here and share exactly where you want them to order it, that would be great.
I can
And
do
until
that.
next week, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next week, keep it real with yourself, with God, and with others. Amen.
Amen.
Love you all. See you next
You are
week.
tuned in to
God
that
bless.
praisey station, Praise.fm, where we get our praise on. 24 hours, 7 days a week.